Welcome back everyone to the 9th episode of my journey into making comics, how the iPad Pro changed everything. Now let me quickly illustrate what that means. Now the iPad Pro, the first one, came out in September of 2015. I purchased mine in December of that same year, just in time for Christmas. Best Christmas gift ever. And before that, I already had a tablet, a drawing tablet. I'll show you. I had the Samsung Galaxy Note. Now the Samsung Galaxy Note also came with a pen, and I could do quite some fun drawings on it. Now in a second I'll show you some of the drawings that I did on the Galaxy Note. They were quite fine and all. It was done on Sketchbook Pro, which is a great software app which has changed so much. It really has gotten really good over time. And but the thing back then, 300 dpi wasn't supported. As a matter of fact, the tablet couldn't deal with it. Let alone 600 dpi. I couldn't do everything like professionally the way I really wanted to, and let alone really create comics on it. It wasn't there yet. Now that tablet, the Samsung Galaxy tablet, I had in 2013, 14, something like that. And not far after that, I still really felt like it just wasn't enough for what I really wanted to do. My intention was to buy that one tablet that would make a difference. Now, drawing tablets, we all know them, okay? There is the Wacom tablets, which are very famous. They come with at least the traditional ones, the one I have. I still have an old one, the Intuos 4. Works perfect, that gets the job done, love it. I still use it from time to time, not very frequent, but, whenever the occasion arises, why not? Now, the thing was, on a Wacom tablet, when you need to draw very, very precise lines, then that's where it gets complicated. If you're doing digital painting, no problem. It's not that bad. Obviously, it's always best to draw straight on the screen. That's the ultimate. Now, with the Wacom, this is a problem. There was the standard Wacom tablets, and they were about 300 or 400 US dollars, depending on which one you got. And then there were the Cintiqs. They still exist, obviously, and they're amazing. They're great. They come in massive sizes, but they're also quite pricey. They're not cheap. So at the time, I was really like pulling my hair, being like, oh my God, I'm either going to invest in a Wacom Cintiq, or I'm going to invest in an iPad Pro, because the Samsung Galaxy tablet was just not getting the job done. Now, why did I want to go digital in the first place? Very simple. Everyone that is drawing, especially at the beginning, you need to build up a little bit of confidence. If you are making comics and you're doing things traditional, well, you get better. But the thing is, traditional art is very, very, it's not very forgiving, okay? You make a mistake, there is no undo button. You cannot go back 50 steps and then, start over again. No, in some cases, if that eye is too big, or you drew the nose off, or most of the time, the only thing that's going to help you is an eraser. You erase it and then you fix it again. And that's while penciling. If you work with pens or you're going into the inking phase, your penciling better be perfect before you move on. Otherwise, you make mistakes there, then it gets ugly, and then you got to do a lot of stuff again. So obviously, the main reason for going digital for me was to, one, gain confidence, because I can do a lot of undos and fix things, and I don't have to waste so much time in order to get things done. And the second thing was that, obviously it's just the convenience of going digital. You can, work a little bit on here and then move it onto another app and combine stuff and add layers and, colors and so many different effects. Super useful. Now in comics, people have been working digitally for a long time, especially colorists. There are few colorists that work traditional. I do know some. In Europe there is Enrico Marini. He does the entire comic from beginning to end, except for lettering. But all the rest he does traditionally, so penciling, inking, and then he does the colors beautifully. But anyways, my whole point is, digital, it's been around for a while, and especially it's useful for me, at least in terms of inking, penciling, all that stuff. Now back then, I've realized that I really was not, confident enough to, start this comic project while doing this traditionally, because I just kept on making a whole bunch of mistakes, and making one page was it took me decades to just do one page. The first thing I want to discuss is basically how I made that transition into digital. Now I'll show you what the iPad Pro actually is, or at least the size that I've got. Back then they only had one size, that was the big size. So if you look at, next to me, that's about the size. Obviously I have a cover for it, but this is what we're looking at. Okay, now in terms of the Apple Pencil that I bought separately, and back then it set me back about $1,100 if I convert it, everything included. Okay, so that's the iPad Pro 128 gigs Wi-Fi model, the space gray one, and the Apple Pencil cost me more than 100 back then, because now it's $100. Back then, I don't know, I think it was 120 or so, I don't remember, but all in all, I spent close to 1,100. It was the perfect Christmas gift for myself. I mean, to myself. I was super happy with it. Best ever. But, it had a price. Now, why am I saying this now? Because here in 2018, Apple just revealed the new iPad. And the new iPad, guess what? It takes the Apple Pencil now. And only for $329 starting price. This is useful. This is big. Okay, that is a massive difference. Okay, the screen is not as big as the one I just showed you. It's the traditional 9.7 inch, I think it is. But it's amazing. I mean, for that price, okay, the Apple Pencil costs an additional 100. So if you're looking at the iPad entry level plus the Apple Pencil, $429 US. In euros, it's a little bit more. I think you'll be spending close to 500 euros if you take everything. And we're not adding a cover yet, just the basics here. You've done all that, that's half of what I paid back then. And, the iPad 2018, I've seen some reviews online, you should check them out, is pretty good. So today people have it even easier to go digital. And why would I say iPad? Well, the availability of apps on it. They're amazing, starting with Procreate. Okay, in my opinion, the best artistic app out there. Okay, at least for certain things. If you want to do comics from beginning to end, I'd say the best option is Clip Studio Paint. Amazing, and I strongly recommend it. It's also subscription based, but hey, you can't have everything. But definitely worth looking into. Now, talking about software, I want to quickly take you guys with me. I'll show you some stuff on the screen, and then we'll look into the software that I use and why going digital was so amazing for me. All right, so let's have a very quick look into these apps that I use on the iPad Pro and that are also available on the iPad, obviously. Now, the ones you see here are the ones that I most frequently use. The winner, of course, is Procreate. There you can see the first drawing. Kids vs. Aliens was the one that I used for episode 7, I believe. Yep. Of my journey into making comics. There's also a whole bunch of other stuff here that you can see that I can't really show. There's stuff on storyboards for Fast Lane from Disney. Can't just show that, but it's there either way. So point is, Procreate is one of the apps that the one that I use the most. Almost all my recordings that I've done so far were done on Procreate. So the ones that you see on my YouTube channel, almost everything is done here. My webcomics and stuff, Reset Access Denied, gets created here. The balloons, the text balloons, and the text is done in Photoshop because I have a specific font that I wanted to use for it. But aside from that, Procreate really is by long shot king. Now, Sketchbook is amazing. I don't use it as much, but it has some features that Procreate doesn't. And that's, stuff like when you want to create a nice ellipse, for example, or you can modify things quite a lot. I mean, some of these things are really cool. It has a really fun ruler, for example. It doesn't have the perspective guides that you get on the desktop version, but it's really good nonetheless. And don't get me wrong, the availability of different type of tools to work with, they're amazing. They're really, really good. I really, really like it. In terms of colors also, there's nothing that you'll miss. Okay, all the colors are there. You can work in RGB or in hue, saturation, and your values. And it comes with the Copic colors, so all of them are in there, the official ones. Super useful for working in. So in that sense, also an app definitely worth looking at. Other apps that really changed the way I work. Okay, a big one is ArtPose. Okay, so we all need reference as artists, right? And this is one of these apps that is just super useful. So let's say you have a pose here, you want to quickly go into the library, choose anything. I don't know, let's say the guy is for a karate kick, right? So, and then even then, after once you've done that, you can still modify all this stuff and, you know, change the leg and all that stuff. So really, really fun. You can undo, obviously, if you feel like you've done something wrong. But then you can pose him, right? And to make things even more interesting, you can even light it. So you can say, for example, I want the lighting to be somewhere here. And all I'm doing is just putting one finger on the screen and moving it. That's all I'm doing. You can put some dramatic lighting there to better understand your lighting if you want. You can even set up your muscle structure if you wanted to see the muscles in black and white. Very, very, very useful. So much you can modify. Once you're ready, you just take a screenshot and that's it. And you can just say like, okay, I'll let it go to my photos, and that's it. And then you can import it. I have one for male and also for female. They're amazing. I use them sometimes if I need some reference here and there. Extremely useful. Same here, same principle. You just choose a nice pose. There you go. And from there, you just modify it if necessary. And then, yeah, there you go. Lighting, everything. If you want to draw like this, you can export it and then draw over it or whatever would be necessary. Lighting, everything is in there included. Right. Another reference one is Handy. Absolutely amazing. Everyone can struggle with drawing hands from time to time, right? And feet. It comes with hands and feet. I think the feet are paid, but I'll have a look. Let's quickly choose a hand pose. You have all these poses that you can start with. And say you wanted something like this, okay? Now, this is a female hand that I chose. There's also a male hand, obviously. You can pose it the way you like. And even here, again, the lighting you can choose if you want to change some of the lighting. So you can turn them on and off, for example, and say, for example, okay, I want some dramatic lighting, and then you can really see the difference already. It's really, really impressive. Same principle, you take a picture, you save it, and really amazing. Right, so that's another one that I use. Let's see, a big one that I also use quite a lot, or from time to time, well, obviously Clip Studio Paint that everyone knows. This is amazing on the iOS platform, and I strongly recommend you do get it. There was a 6-month trial when I got it. I'm still on the trial for now. I don't know what they're gonna do in the future, but wow, 6 months is amazing. After that, I think it's like $8.99 or $7.99 a month, and I'm talking US dollars, and euros is very similar. So definitely that. But the one, I'm going to try this now. Hopefully it works, because I'm screen recording at the same time, so it might mess up some things, but hey, here we go. So this basically all it does is, there we go. We have a show and a representation of the screen. So basically, AstroPad is another app. If you want to use an app on your Mac, and you want to mirror it onto your iPad Pro, it's perfectly possible. Everything I do here, and I can move this thing around. I'm moving it now with the Apple Pencil. I'm doing all this on the iPad Pro, so I'm not touching the mouse. As you can see, the mouse is right here. It's not moving anything. It's just done here with the Apple Pencil. Very, very useful. I sometimes use it for Photoshop, even Clip Studio Paint, even though I already have Clip Studio Paint on my iPad Pro. There's still some things that are included in the desktop version that sometimes I want to do. And there you go. As a matter of fact, also the drawings that you're looking at here are drawings that I did with the Galaxy Note, the first tablet I had for drawing. And the results are great. I mean, not all of it was done on the tablet. Part of it was done in Photoshop, but the grand majority, all the line art and all that stuff, the more important stuff was done on the tablet. But then again, yeah, the screen was a little bit small, so I really wanted more value for money, basically. So there you go. These are some of the apps that I really, really like, that I use. I hope that these give you a bit of an idea of how that could make a difference for you as well. Alright, so there you have it. These are my thoughts on going digital and why the iPad Pro changed everything for me. That might be different for you, or hey, maybe you're someone that was or is currently stuck just like I was back in 2015 in search of a solution and thinking, oh man, traditional is quite tough, I want to really modernize my workflow. I'm telling you, the iPad of 2018 with the Apple Pencil, more than enough. You want to go bigger? Fine, get the iPad Pro. You're not going to be wasting any money, I promise you. Now, that doesn't mean that going digital is the only way. As a matter of fact, a lot of artists still go traditional. A lot of comic book artists go traditional at Marvel and DC Comics, and also European comic artists. A lot of them still go traditional, and the reason for that is because traditional art is very valuable. Also, it requires more skill, at least in my opinion, because you need, or at least more prep, bare minimum more prep. Your pencils have to be cleaner and all that stuff before you even start thinking of inking. And there are different steps that fall in line, so it's not as fast. But again, traditional artwork has a value. Digital artwork, well, it's digital, so it's nothing that you can hold tangibly in your hand. So yeah. And that's exactly what I want to be discussing in the next episode of my journey into making comics. There I want to be discussing the traditional way of doing things. I still draw traditionally from time to time. I haven't given up on it. And the good thing is that by doing a lot of things digitally, where I've gained more confidence and I've learned a lot of things, I've tried things out, now I find myself doing a lot of things more traditional as well, because it's just fun. Holding a paper in your hand and, having that medium and, feeling the pencil, brush, anything that touches the medium, the paper, there's something very magical about that, at least for me. All right, so if you guys like this type of content, as usual, leave a like and subscribe, and then I'll see you guys in the next episode. Thank you guys for stopping by.